Yes,
All
we
right.
are good. We're good to go. Didn't mean to do that.
Okay. That's okay. That's fine. So we will go ahead and officially call the meeting to order. We are conducting the JPNA neighborhood meeting today at November 17th, 2020 at 7 p.m. And as you can see, we have the contest winners for our Halloween contest posted on the page that everyone can see. And then I would like to turn it over real quick to Deidre so she can give us some Zoom etiquette, just so everybody knows how this new wave of 2020 meeting will work.
And also just a quick reminder as well, it's that time of year again. We've got the Lottie Maynard Holiday Giving Campaign. So if you are ready to gift, you can drop off donations, or you can also send your contribution to our different social media platforms that we now have. Beyond Facebook, we also have Instagram. So as far as our Zoom etiquette, just a couple of things. If you are showing your camera, we just ask that you be presentable. I say this to my students, but you just never know. So it's always good to say out loud. Be aware of your surroundings. Make sure that something's not distracting in the background, especially if you're going to speak. And mute is your friend. We are just wanting you guys to stay muted until there's a, we'll ask for if anyone has any questions or anything like that. And then if you do have a question, we ask that you raise your hand. So you can literally raise your hand, or you can select raise your hand on Zoom, whether you're on your phone or on your computer. And then at the end of the day, we just ask that you please be respectful and stay quiet while someone else is speaking. Okay.
All right. Thank you, Deidre. And I would be remiss if I did not take a moment and acknowledge the wonderful 2020 JPNA board members that we currently have. I'd like to take just a quick second and introduce Carrie Ziegler, who is our secretary, Deidre Tyree, who we see speaking and helping us with the Zoom, Laura Reed, who is at large, Gabrielle McHale, who is our treasurer, Chrissy Hudson, who is our hospitality chair, Dominique Williams, who is our co-hospitality chair, Vincent Holt, who is at large, and then I am your president, Barbara Neville. So with that being said, I couldn't have done it. We made it through 2020. We have a couple more months, but with all the hard work and dedication that these board members have done, I really, truly appreciate every one of you. So we want to thank everyone here for attending the meeting and taking time to be a part of JPNA. Make sure you mute your microphones, and we will be monitoring the chat so that we can use that as questions and answers. And thank you, Deidre, for mentioning the Lottie Maynard Fund. That's very important. Lottie Maynard was a neighbor that was gracious and kind, and she got the honor of being given the name for our Christmas giving campaign for JPNA. So we're looking for nominations, not only just donations, but also nominations. If you know anyone that lives in Jefferson Park that may be in need, even if it's yourself, just send me an email with that person's name and contact information, and it will remain anonymous between myself and whoever nominates. And we will set them up. We're doing it a little different this year because of COVID. Normally we do like a wish list, and we ask people to buy presents, and then we do a wrapping party. But this year we're just asking for monetary donations. So you can donate through our website. Of course, you can drop off cash or gift cards or check to my house if you need to, or to anybody on the board. We'll be happy to do that, and we'll be just handing out the cash donations this year, just so we don't have to touch so many things with the coronavirus. It allows people to go ahead and purchase what they needed through that time. So without further ado, I will turn it over. We have 3 speakers. We have a lot of exciting news going on this evening. And then we also have our JPNA elections that will be your 2021 board members. So we will be keeping our current 2020 members, but adding some new members to JPNA. So we appreciate you guys all being here. We're excited. We're hoping we'll get back to a little bit of normal in 2020. But our first speaker, I will go ahead. Actually, if you guys don't mind, I'm going to let Randy go first, just because we had a little history from what he's going through, and I want to go ahead and give him the opportunity to start. That way, if he has to step away, he's able to do so. So Randy, are you on?
I am, and I appreciate that very, very much. And I appreciate y'all giving me some time to, just to introduce myself and our project. So let me do that little trick again that I tried earlier that worked. Let me see if I can repeat the success. Let's see here. How did I do that? Okay, here we go.
You got this.
I think I can do it.
No pressure.
Okay, hang on. Let me try this again. If it works, y'all let me know.
It's working.
Yes.
Yes. Zoom is incredible. We use a lot of Google Hangouts and Google Meets, but Zoom has just really thought of everything. So just thinking out loud there. So, okay, let me start with the who on this project. So, well, let me tell you where it is first. So if y'all are familiar with the Buggy Works buildings, Buggy Works, Wagon Works, Jefferson Station, that kind of orients you to our overall site. But our site is actually those 3 buildings plus all the land that surrounds them. So it really goes from Irene Kidd to the south to Norman Berry to the north, and the tracks obviously to the east to the west, and then R.N. Martin is our boundary to the east. So it's that whole huge, basically, when you get onto R.N. Martin from Norman Berry, drive all the way to Irene Kidd, it's that whole long stretch. And our vision for this is for it to be a mixed use, mixed income real estate development that is intending to serve the community that is here and now. The developers are Kairos. I got brought in as a consultant about a year ago, but have been asked to stay on the project, really as a placemaking consultant, but as a development manager, because I've helped the team kind of, I don't want to say create, but uncover and kind of crystallize a lot of these components of the vision, and also really to help the development take on this, this understanding and kind of bake into the DNA that in order to be successful, we've got to, again, cater to the community in East Point that is here and now today. Of course, if we're successful, we're going to draw in interest from outside East Point, but that should not be our initial goal. The initial goal shouldn't be to create a place from scratch as though, there's not already something and some ones that exist today. So at the end of the day, part of, what we've tried to do over the last year and a half is really gain an understanding of, like the feasibility of the site and kind of how we want to approach it, to come up with a concept and a framework that we can start layering onto with public input. So, just as an overall kind of where do we stand today, we won't break ground on anything for, another year or so. And between now and then, we want to lean hard into community and public engagement and start gathering insights and opinions, just the hopes, the dreams, the fears, the opportunities, and just the overall perceptions of the community in East Point, so we can start to figure out how to weave strategies out of those threads of information that we gather. So we're in the very early stages of that. We've been calling it community engagement because we're kind of trying to engage with key stakeholders, and eventually we'll evolve into more of what we call public engagement, where it's just kind of like anybody and everybody who wants to log in to, kind of these open town hall style calls. But first we want to get our footing right. We want to, get a basic of understanding, from elected officials, city staff, neighborhood association leaders, institutional leaders, business owners in downtown, and then like our immediate neighbors. So we're not really having this level of engagement with any other neighborhoods, but y'all are the closest neighborhood and the one that would be, most impacted by what we do. So we consider Jefferson Park, as a whole, a group of key stakeholders. So with all that said, we've got a long way to go, but we want the community, voice to be part of our design process. So everything that I'm about to show you is really preliminary. It's conceptual, it's a framework, but the really specific design on like what the buildings look like, where exactly they're situated, how they're situated, et cetera, hasn't really begun yet. So with all that said, we're referring to the entire site as East Point Exchange. And we've landed on a couple of, kind of hero statements that we don't want to be mainstream. We're not trying to be Ponce City Market. We're not trying to come in and just carte blanche, create something, that's purely our vision. We understand that we are part of Main Street, that we are part of downtown East Point, that we are part of the surrounding neighborhoods. And so our goal is really to help elevate all of those things, not to stand on our own. And I feel like we're making good on that in a lot of different ways. Okay. Trying to figure out how to go to the next slide. There we go. So we're also saying, we really want to try and be purpose oriented. So this is just kind of part of our marketing collateral that talks about the walkability to downtown and to MARTA, to the fact that we are highly connected to the path system that's been created and ultimately will be added to via our site. We want to fill the place up with public spaces and public amenities. We really want to try and focus on wellness and food accessibility and just public life in general as kind of the cornerstones of like the overall experience on the site. And the way that we arrived at this is really by kind of starting at, the historic level. So gaining an understanding of what this site originally was, for better or for worse, who was spending time on this site? How is this land being used? How was this land integral to the formation and initial kind of like shaping of East Point? How it's evolved from there, and the history of the bifurcation of the kind of original footprint of downtown, and then up to today, how is this site interacted with from a vehicular standpoint, from a pedestrian standpoint? What are the sight lines onto the site from 365 degrees? And ultimately, going into that level of depth, to ultimately arrive at what we've arrived at, which is, again, this very conceptual framework. And so what you're looking at right now is just a basic map that shows the existing buildings in that like darker translucent orange color. The lighter orange translucent color are, there's some existing buildings there, but those existing buildings are not historic. So that's where we would look at building, or doing our new construction. But those darker orange buildings are the buildings that are providing some historic value and character that we intend to, maintain and enhance. So that's the difference between, the orange stuff. That's really what's up for development. So renovation of existing historic buildings and new construction where we're able to. You'll also see a lot of green, like There's this big green line running through the site. There are these green translucent layers. All of that is, well, the green translucent layer is really, that's where we want to see green spaces and public areas. That dark green line is a continuation of the city's model mile. So if you look there at point E, that's about where the model mile currently terminates at the intersection of Norman Berry. We want to, as does the city, and we've been working with the city, Parks and Rec Department, Economic Development, and their architects and engineers to figure out how can we bring that path across Norman Berry into our site. And what we've discovered, and it only got, put out last Friday, so we really haven't had time to redo our maps to reflect it, but that green line should actually go from the corner of Norman Berry and RN Martin, and the path would essentially run down East Forest, and then right there on Forest, where you see those kind of pink rectangles, that's where the East Forest stretch of the path would kind of pick up the route you currently see on this map. And it would ultimately end at the pedestrian bridge. So the goal being to really use this multi-use path as kind of the spine, kind of the backbone of public life throughout this site. We want to create that connection point from the model mile, that goes up into Jefferson Park. We want it to ultimately connect through our site to the pedestrian bridge to really create that critical link between downtown and neighborhoods on the east side of the railroad. So we envision along that path, you see all these pink areas, pink shapes, and then yellow shaded areas and yellow shapes. We want to really try and focus on activating and creating experiences along that path, whether they be events or farmers markets or educational opportunities, or just family-friendly events or areas, viewing steps to allow people to engage with the railroad in a safe way, to celebrate it almost like a riverfront. And in terms of, and then public art as well, there's a lot of discussion around how to do that. We would obviously be working with the city's public art department, Christopher Swain, and Fulton County Public Arts, the Arts Exchange, and really like a host of local artists that just happen to be kind of in our network, or anybody else really that we can connect with. Tri-Cities has a great arts program and it's multifaceted. So there are a lot of directions that we can go within the public life experience, but that's where the public input is so critical in helping us figure out where do we start. I saw a question come through, and even though I'm not really like moderating or looking at the questions because I'm trying to kind of look at this presentation, someone asked about Market 166. Yes, we are deeply involved with Market 166, with Foodwell Alliance, with Councilman Callaway, and with the Commons Market and others, trying to figure out what a collective strategy might look like, that we can help support. At the end of the day, we're offering our space, whether that be like outdoor spaces, indoor spaces, long-term spaces for permanent locations, our resources, including like some capital and just our personnel, like our time and energy, to help figure out how we can help support the city wide, food accessibility strategy that's being piloted. We're so blown away and like constantly impressed by the work that's being done on that front. The work that Councilman Callaway and Councilwoman Renee are doing on that front. We intend to make urban agriculture, food accessibility, the whole umbrella of food accessibility part of our initial placemaking efforts. So, we've just heard a lot of that from the city and from folks that we've been talking to, that's really critical and important. So we're all in. We want to look at wellness, which is a really big umbrella as well as another part of kind of our initial activation strategy. And then we want to look at, celebrating existing cultures and, public art. And then from there, we can layer on and branch off in so many different ways. But I did want to address that question that I saw come through. So we're basically saying we have resources. Please give us guidance on how we can, put those resources to work to help elevate the work that's already being done. We don't want to recreate the wheel. We want to just help make it, better to the extent that we're able to. I'll stop right there. I know that's a lot to take in, and I've just kind of blazed through it because I know y'all have other stuff to cover. I have other maps that kind of break these layers down, but would love to just stop there and allow y'all to kind of go through some Q&A. I'm happy to answer whatever questions, and yeah, so I'll leave it there. Okay, I'm still figuring out this mobile Zoom thing, so I'm now seeing how I can look at questions. Randy, are you offering grants to business owners in the wellness industry who would like to bring their businesses there? So we don't have a grant fund or anything like that. Essentially, where our funding comes from is like just equity. So we have investors that are seeking a return. And then we have debt, the traditional debt that we'll be getting from a bank to fund this. I'm getting to the answer to directly answer your question, but I will say part of how we're funding this is going to require like a commercial loan insurance from HUD. So essentially, as part of our phase one, we want to build that the public realm. We want to build that out, physically put the infrastructure into place, which will require some collaboration with the city to help us figure out, where we can go, collectively, find the funds to do that. We have some of our own money to chip into that, of course, but it's probably not going to be enough. So we'll have to find ways to kind of fill that gap. But I think we have enough to make a really big dent in the overall budget. But within phase one, we also want to renovate the existing historic buildings as well as build about 120 new apartments on that C4 site that I showed, which that's where Morehouse Urgent Care Clinic is currently. They're moving that facility to another location. It's just part of a larger real estate strategy they have. But all that said, phase one, the budget is really coming from traditional debt and equity. We need HUD to kind of get on board to help us guarantee 80% of our construction loan. Otherwise, it's going to be really tough to get banks to finance this in this post-COVID world, since a lot of apartments have not been built in this immediate area. Banks are a little shyer right now, as opposed to areas where there's like, 1 million apartment complexes being built and the metrics are super, like repeatable and kind of proven. HUD's going to help us get over the hump. But with that said, we'll have, a budget to build these new apartments. And so while we don't have grants, what we do have the ability to do is look at, the businesses that we want to bring into the fold, and we can get creative on our lease structures. We can look at things like free rent or tenant improvement allowances, and things like that, to help incentivize the businesses to come into the fold. The wellness piece is a little different in terms of how it gets financed. And I know this is like a really technical way to answer this question, but I feel like this is just, a lot of people aren't so familiar with the technical components of development. So I feel like it's good context. The wellness campus that we want to build, which again is not focusing on like medical uses necessarily. Like there may be an urgent care clinic, there may be like, a dentist's office or some sort of like doctor's office, but we also want to look at like apothecaries or dietary consultants or, health food stores or any sort of like fitness facilities. We would love to see something like a YMCA come in so that we have like a much larger, like family friendly, like anchor for the campus that serves a lot of different community needs. But the crux for us is we've got to go find that anchor tenant. So if a building is purely commercial, meaning it's like retail or office, typically banks, in like the best of times, banks are going to want to see that you have a certain percentage of the total square footage leased before they'll issue the debt to go build it or to really finance it. So we have to find our anchor tenant. That's a big thing, but we have a dedicated lease team or leasing team that is out there talking to all the major healthcare systems, to the YMCA, so on and so forth. So we're actively on the hunt, and we really won't be able to kick that building off in terms of construction until we have that anchor tenant kind of locked in. And because they're an anchor tenant and they're taking a chance on us, we would also bake a lot of our design around what they would want to see in terms of a facility. So we would love to see a multitude of wellness businesses come forward. We definitely can incentivize them in a handful of ways, and nothing's going to stop us from having those conversations while we're looking for our anchor tenant by any means. But that's just like the utter transparency around the whole situation. So that's probably more of an answer than you were hoping for, but hopefully it addressed a lot of different things along the way.
Well, thank you very much, Randy. We appreciate you being here, and we're excited for the new development. And once you get into second phases or third phases, please reach out, and we'll be happy to have you at the next meeting just to kind of fill us in on the progression.
Well, I plan on being at every one of these that I can. I mean, I've had the Oz Pizza meeting on my calendar, just, hoping that we would get past this COVID stuff with a vaccine and, people could start to normalize. But, y'all are really important to us. My email, my cell phone number are, at y'all's disposal for any questions or thoughts or follow-up. We would really love to get the neighborhood association leadership engaged in some stakeholder interviews that we're conducting right now. So Thomas Calloway has offered to make those connections. So at the very least, please be on the lookout. We'd love to get y'all's take at that level. And yes, of course, as soon as we have updates, we're all in. But if anybody has questions or wants to have conversations with us, we'll provide our contact info to your neighborhood association leadership. Feel free to reach out to them, and we're happy to have these conversations, along the way. So thank y'all for giving me some time and, and hearing us out.
Thank you. We really appreciate you taking time and filling us in. And
Perfect.
and
I'll be quiet now, but I'll post my contact info in the chat. Someone just asked for it, so y'all are welcome to it. Feel free to call me anytime. Thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, so we need to have him stop sharing.
Yeah, Randy, if you can go ahead and stop your share.
Sorry, I was responding to that chat. Sorry about that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
All right, so we'll go ahead and jump right into our next speaker. We have Stephanie Go. I hope I'm saying your last name right, with the Habitat for Humanity, to give us an update from there.
Awesome. So hi, everybody. My name is Stephanie. It's Goff, actually.
Wow.
And no worries. So I work at Atlanta Habitat. I coordinate our home repair programs. So I wanted to talk to you guys today because we have pretty recently opened up these programs to East Point for non-restricted funding. Before it was really just for veterans, and now we've been able to get the funding to offer these programs to anyone living within the East Point area. So let me pull up a few slides here. Perfect. Okay. So this is called the Repair with Kindness program, and I'll just give you kind of like a brief overview. So it is a 5-year forgivable loan program. What we do is we can offer a maximum of $20,000 of critical repairs per house, and the total cost of the repairs that we do would go against the house as a 5-year forgivable loan called a security interest. So there's no out-of-pocket cost, there's no monthly payments, nothing like that. It's really just a loan that sits against the house for 5 years. And as long as the homeowner continues living in the house for that time and also remains current on any property taxes, mortgage payments, and homeowner's insurance during that time, then at the end of the 5 years, we would forgive the entire balance of the loan. No money is owed back to Habitat. the reason that we have the forgivable loan as part of the program at all, if it's really just going to be free repairs, we do it to make sure that we're helping homeowners keep their houses and not helping developers go around and flip a bunch of houses for free. So that's really kind of why we have that. We do only focus on critical home repairs. So we don't do cosmetic work, like interior painting or really minor like handyman type fixes. We really focus on things that will improve the homeowner's health, safety, accessibility, or the weatherization of the home. I'll go through some examples in just a minute, but all of our repairs are completed by licensed professional contractors. We don't use volunteers with this program because the repairs are just a little bit too complicated and we want to make sure they're done correctly, especially when it comes to mechanical systems like electrical, plumbing, that kind of thing. And then all of the repairs done through this program are also warranted for 1 year, except for roofs, which are warranted for 12 years. And these are just some examples of the types of repairs we can do. There are things off of this list. These are just kind of the big ones we see a lot of, but we do a lot of roofing, handicap accessibility, things like ramps, grab bars in showers, converting tubs to showers for easier accessibility, or maybe shower seats, that kind of thing. We do a lot of carpentry, which could be anything from, widening doorways to make sure wheelchairs can get through, or fixing sagging floors, fixing the floor joists, rotting windowsills. We can trim or remove trees that are threatening the house, repair or replace mechanical systems like plumbing, electrical, HVAC. And then we also do a lot of energy efficiency. So storm windows, doors, insulation, that kind of thing. So what we do is if someone's application is approved, we'd come out to do that in-person inspection and not only go through our own checklist of what we notice could be critical repairs, but talk with each individual homeowner and see what would make, the biggest difference in their lives, what they really want to focus on, and just figure out the best way to kind of spend that $20,000. The program requirements are to live in an area where we have funding, which right now is everything within the city limits of East Point. And we also have other areas. If you're thinking of somebody who might benefit from this program, we are technically within all of Atlanta and Fulton County. We just have different types of funding in different areas. The house must be at least 15 years old. The applicant must have owned the house for at least 1 year and have been living in the house for at least the past year. Everyone listed as an owner of the house, so everyone on the most current deed, everyone who's a mortgagee is all required to co-apply. And that's really just because they have an interest in the house and they have to also be willing to put a 5-year forgivable loan against it. The applicant needs to have an active homeowner's insurance policy, be current on property taxes, be current on homeowner's insurance, be a U.S. citizen or permanent legal resident. And then we also just check to see if there's any major liens against the property, really to make sure that we won't put someone in a position where there's too many liens and they'll be underwater and in danger of losing their house. So we just check for that to make sure we won't put anyone in that position. And then there's also income requirements. So we only look at gross monthly income. We only look at the income of the applicants, not everyone in the house. And it's just based on household size and HUD standards for area median income. So these are the current maximums. They do get updated every year with cost of living, usually around the summer. But this is what those look like right now. And this is just a before and after example, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. The big item here was the roof, which we replaced. We also replaced their gutters, the fascia under here. We trimmed the trees that were hanging over the house, replaced the rotting siding, and we did some security work. So motion activated security lights, a cage over their AC unit because people kept stealing pieces of it, new locks, new deadbolts, that sort of thing. All right, and the other part of the program is that we do have a sweat equity hour requirement. So if you've heard about our home ownership program where people, have to put in the time in order to kind of, instead of paying more for the house, it's a similar concept, except they have to do hundreds of hours. And for this program, it's a minimum of 20, maximum of 40. It's just based on the cost of the repairs. And it's really something I would go into detail after someone applies when it's a little bit more relevant. But especially because we have a lot of senior citizens apply for this program, some of them don't have the ability to earn their own hours. And so friends and family can do some or even all of the hours for you. It's really up to whoever is able to do them. And in light of COVID, we did change the way to earn these hours, which was a big concern for people. So generally, before COVID, we would have people do things like build houses with us, volunteer in our warehouse or our restore, something like that. But now we've changed it to where we aren't accepting volunteers and we're asking people to earn these hours from the safety of their own home for the most part. So that's things like helping kids or grandkids with schoolwork, teaching them a new recipe, teaching them how to read a book, picking up litter in the neighborhood, coming to neighborhood association meetings like this one, doing meal distribution, volunteering at a food bank, that sort of thing. We also have Home Smart classes at Habitat. We offer over 100 different home education type courses, and you can get credit for all of those as well. But it's, there's courses that are things like home maintenance, there's yoga classes, Spanish language classes, financial literacy classes, there's all sorts of things. Project timeline, this is another big question I get. COVID has pushed us back a little bit, as it has with everything else. Traditionally, there was no wait list to apply. It was like people who were ready would just come in, but I wasn't able to take applications for about 6 months. So I'm catching up with that now. So anyone who's ready to apply, for instance, today, it would probably be about 2 months before they could actually fill out an application. But hopefully I'll get that back down to 0. And then from the day someone applies until the very last day of repairs, it averages between 4 to 5 months, really depending on how many repairs you need, how long it takes to get missing documents for the application in, types of repair, the weather as we get later in the year, that kind of thing. And then the last thing is just other program benefits. So I think I covered most of this. Everything's warranted. It's done by licensed professionals. There's no cost. You have access to our Home Smart education courses for actually the rest of your life. So even after the program ends, you can still come to classes for any type of refresher or to learn new skills. And then for applicants who are 55 and older, we also have a partner program with National Church Residences. So they have a program called Home for Life. They offer it for free to everyone doing our program. And it's really just access to more services. So anything that could improve someone's life other than just getting repairs. It's things like connecting people with transportation benefits, medical or dental benefits they didn't know they qualified for. There's a lot of meal delivery service things that are going on right now, mental health referrals. There's all kinds of things. So that's a really neat benefit for people 55 and older. And this is my contact info. I will also put it in the chat. But if you or anyone you know is interested in seeing if they would qualify for this program or has any specific questions about your own situation or eligibility, you can always call or email me. And that really is the first step to getting approved anyway, is I do a pre-qualification check over the phone or over email. All right, so that's kind of the gist of the program. I am really excited that we're in East Point now. I've been trying to get us to move there since I've been at Habitat. So does anyone have any questions about what this program offers?
So we do have a question that came up in the chat.
Yeah.
If a recipient passes away after they, have received a repair, before that 5 years is over, what is the situation there?
Yeah, so we do get that one a lot. It really depends on what happens to the house. We're trying to, like, in keeping in spirit with the program, we're trying to keep it within the family, and we're trying to help families maintain these houses and keep these houses in the family. So if the house remains in the family, we would finish out the 5 years with whoever took over the house. If instead the house was sold for a profit to a third party, we would most likely just be paid back from whatever profit was made. But as long as it stays within the family, nobody needs to pay us back. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions I can answer?
I don't see any more questions in the chat. So
Awesome.
We just appreciate you taking the time, and what a wonderful program. And thank you for sharing. And I appreciate your contact information, and we'll be in touch.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So moving on, we have one more speaker, and we'll turn it over to Carol Goodson with the East Point Leaders for Equity.
Thank you. I appreciate you letting me come. My purpose in being here is really quite relevant to Randy's presentation because it's about housing equity. I'm new to Jefferson Park. I'm new to East Point, in fact, but I'm not new to Georgia. I retired from the University of West Georgia after 24 years. But I decided to come to East Point because I felt as though this was an area where I could probably make a contribution. So I'm really happy that I had a chance to be part of the East Point Leaders for Equity Academy. I'm interested in housing because from a personal standpoint, let me just tell you a little bit of my history. When I was in my 20s, I bought a house in a very downtrodden area of St. Louis. It was called Lafayette Square. It was a whole bunch of Victorian mansions that basically been turned into boarding houses and subdivided into apartments. It was really fun. We were, urban pioneers. I was in my 20s, and it was an exciting time to be there. And I renovated a house that was built in 1870, and then I moved to Georgia. I had the chance to go back there after 40 years absence last summer. And I was really horrified what happened to the neighborhood because it had completely turned into a gated yuppie enclave with very upper class people living there, no diversity whatsoever. It was a place I would not want to live myself. And I just checked on Zillow the other day, and my house that I had bought for $7,000 is now worth about $500,000. I'm worried that something like that could happen to East Point. Just in the short time I've been here, the value of my little modest house has gone up by several $1,000s just in a couple of months. And the people are talking all the time about the lack of affordable housing in East Point, and I think it's going to be an increasing problem. And I don't want us to turn out like that and push out the people who make this place so interesting and such a delightful place to be. So one of the strategies that has been proposed, and the Partnership for Southern Equity is interested in this, is the possibility of the city of East Point adopting a community benefits ordinance. I had never heard of this concept before, but it's actually been around since the 60s. And the idea is that when a developer comes in and wants to do a project, and usually is incentivized by getting tax rebates, etc., from the city, the developer should not be the only one who gets something out of that project. The community should get something too. And one of the ways you can do that is by having a community benefits ordinance, which makes sure that the needs of the community, as expressed by the community, are part of the project and that there are accountability measures and those needs are met. The city of Detroit has been very, very successful. They're just one of several cities that have been adopted such an ordinance. And in their projects, they have been able to get things like youth employment, workforce development funds, increased recreational activities for areas for the community, and they're using the involvement of the whole community to decide exactly what it is they want, and they're getting it. So we are interested in the possibility of possibly persuading the city of East Point to adopt such an ordinance. And I'm here tonight to find out what you guys think about that. We're collecting information to find out whether the community is supportive of such an idea in the first place. So I'm going to be taking some notes from your remarks, and then I'm hopefully you'll have some questions and some thoughts that I can pass on, because this is going to be an ongoing effort by the Southern Partnership for Southern Equity over the next couple of months.
Okay, so I guess we're looking for any questions or comments in the chat box.
Yes, or you could just ask me.
Okay, we're getting them. They're coming through.
Okay, I put my email in so that if anybody thinks of something afterwards and wants to ask me something or tell me something, you can get in touch with me.
Okay, thank you.
Good. All right. Matthew West says, are there any comparable neighborhoods that implemented successfully? Okay. Yes, there actually is a project for in the Turner Field area that is using this type of strategy. So a developer would have to adhere to community standards, yes. And the community standards would be established by community input. In every case, there is like a community committee that is selected in various different ways to provide the input to decide what it is the community needs and wants to get out of this project.
Oh, here's another one.
Yes, what we're looking to bring to East Point is a citywide ordinance, not development specific, exactly. Generally, only certain projects over a certain amount of money are qualified for it. That's the only proviso. In most cases, they have established thresholds, and below a certain threshold, this doesn't apply, but it could. I mean, we could design it any way we want. But do you basically think it's a good idea or a bad idea, or do you think it's like not appropriate for East Point, or what are your thoughts on this?
Carol, I really appreciate you giving us your email address, because there is a comment saying, I think it's a great idea. Thanks for the clarification. Community benefits agreements are individual developments or ordinance. I guess that's a question. So community benefit agreements are on individual developments and ordinance?
The ordinance would apply to all projects probably above a certain threshold that are done by the city, in which there are tax incentives offered.
Okay.
Yes,
All right,
exactly.
well, and I've found that most of the time people think about things and they'll
Yeah,
send you the email. So that's
right.
probably where you'll get more of your feedback. And I'd be happy to talk to you offline maybe later on this week, and we can maybe work out some kind of questionnaire that we can send out
That would be
through an
great.
email blast and maybe get
Oh,
some
that would be
feedback
wonderful.
that way.
Yeah, we would appreciate it. The more input we can get, the better.
Absolutely. All right, and we do appreciate you taking time
Thank
and
you.
being here with us.
Thank you.
And if you don't have anything else, I'll go ahead and move on.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, and I know we have Captain Glover here. I think he had signed on, so I know in lieu of time and his demand, I'll go ahead and turn it over and see if he can give us an update from the police department.
Hey, everybody. This is, I guess, our new way to do meetings. We've hired 7 new people, which I just found out today, which we're excited about. Of course, it takes 3 months for them to go. It takes 3 months in the academy and then 3 months of training before they're out on their own again. But we're excited about that. And we've just got 4 new police cars in, which we're excited about that as well. And I think, oh yeah, and we're working on, I think we had a meeting the other night in reference to the street racing that's going on. I think Headland Delow area is getting it, and I think some down Cleveland Avenue on occasion. We're working on a street racing flyer that will be distributed to everybody. We'll have a phone number on there or our Facebook for if you have any complaints or anything like that. And we're actually working with Atlanta and other jurisdictions to put together a little task force to see if we can't quell some of that spontaneous street racing, which is so hard to combat. But other than that, everything's going well with the police department, and we're just moving right along. I do get calls and emails sometimes from citizens, and I do welcome you to email me or call me or send me a text message through Facebook. Our East Point Facebook page goes directly to me. I'm the monitor of it. So if you send East Point Police a message or myself a message, of course, I'll respond pretty much immediately. So a lot of times these meetings, I'm going over the same thing over and over again, but it's if you as an individual need something from me, you're always welcome to send me a message.
We do have a question on the chat. Is there any update on ShotSpotter?
I will have to check with Chief Popham on that. I know he had gone in front of the commissioner or the county, the council members, and it was a council meeting not too long ago where he talked about they were supposed to be up pretty soon. And I think it's the electrical department who got the grant to get the ShotSpotter to put on our East Point poles. So I will find out about that, and I will post in the Jefferson Park neighbors group if that's the group you'd like me to post it on.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
That works. Thank you very much. And always thank you for taking time and always being here and supporting us. And we're happy about the growth and happy to get rid of some of those street racers. I know they've been on Jefferson Avenue a couple times, so.
Yes, they have. Yes, they have. And thank y'all very much. If you need anything, just give me a call.
All right. Thank you, sir.
All righty. Thank you.
All right, and then I will go ahead and turn it over to Robbie Jackson real quick if you're ready to give a little update. I know you have quite a few things going on at the church in our community and some updates for Thanksgiving. So I'll turn that over to you.
We do just have a few. We have been, I would say, nicely overwhelmed for our takeout community Thanksgiving meal. This Sunday evening, there are going to be something like 175 meals or more go out the back door for takeout, which is probably about twice what we normally do for our community meal. And today's the deadline. You can still call and get your name in. We just need a number of meals and what time you want to pick them up. But that's going to be really exciting. It's going to be a busy day Sunday, but it's going to be fun. We're going to take some to the fire departments, and we've let the patrol officers know that they can come by and pick up a meal, and just trying to do what we can for the community and have a number of Jefferson Park residents who are going to stop by. It's still one of my favorite funny things. When we were on the tour of homes, somebody walked into the foyer and just sort of stuck their head in the sanctuary, and somebody was playing the organ. They said, "Well, come on in." They said, "No, I'm just going to stay right here." Sort of like if they set foot in the sanctuary, God would get them somehow or another. But that's just not the case. But we look forward to that. We will be decorating the community Christmas tree on Saturday, December the 5th at 10 a.m. Please wear your mask if you'd like to help us. 10 a.m. weather permitting. Then we'll have our outdoor service on the 6th at 6 p.m. Again, weather permitting. Carols and a short devotion and lighting the Christmas tree. We do have two sort of regular Christmas type services this year, the hanging of the greens on December 6th in the morning, and our lessons and carols on December the 20th. Both of those are at 10:30 a.m. And then our community Christmas Eve candlelight community service on Thursday, December 24th at 5 p.m. And that's what we've got going. I think that's all I put down. Yep. And we're just tickled that we're going to send 170 plus meals out the back door Sunday night for the community Thanksgiving service, or community Thanksgiving meal. And thank you all. If you signed up, we could still probably use a little help handling all those meals. But thanks so much. And that's it.
Hey, Robbie, we do have a question in the chat.
Yeah.
Is there any way to donate for the food distribution efforts, monetary, or are you accepting?
As we will have a 10 or 2 outside where we're handing out the meals and giving it to the cars as they drive through. We will have a tip jar. There will be something there. If somebody does want to make a monetary donation, then we can, yeah. Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you, Robbie. And I will definitely see you December 5th. That's the day before my birthday.
Okay, super. Thank you much.
Thank you. All right, so I know we have the JPNA elections, but I want to go ahead and get the report out. So Miss Carrie, I think you have an update for us on Brookdale Park. If you want to go ahead and do that real quick.
Yeah, so So a couple days ago, the City of East Point had a mural reveal of Brookdale Park. So there was an organization that came and they painted on the court itself a mural that says "Power and Peace," and it's really awesome looking. You guys should come out and check it out. They also honored the little boy who was killed by gun violence, and they put his jersey number in the mural as well. That's number 12 in the back right corner. Yeah, it's really cool looking, and yeah, you guys should come and check it out.
Thank you. And then last but not least, one report out from our wonderful treasurer. If you can give us a treasurer's report, and then we will go ahead and move into the JPNA elections. And then Thomas Calloway should be joining us, but if he doesn't make it, then I'll definitely meet up with him and send out the information via email blast. But Miss Gabrielle.
Hey everyone. All right, so we are doing super well. Obviously we haven't spent as much money as we normally do this year because we haven't had as many events. So as of right now, our checking account has $6,565.66. And then our savings account, which we are allocating to the Lottie Maynard Fund, has $407.19. And that does include all of the proceeds from the yard sale. So thank you to everyone who participated in that. And please feel free to reach out to me directly if you have any questions about donating or anything about funding.
Thank you. The hardest job on the board right there, treasurer.
I think Carrie with the note taking might beat me just by that.
I think you might be right, especially because I do talk quite fast and she's always trying to type. All right, well, thank you both. I appreciate that. Just a quick announcement. We are going to be doing a Christmas decoration contest. So during the holiday season, I know things are a little bit different and we've missed out on a lot of community involvement that we usually did with the block parties and the progressive dinners. So we're just trying to make it fun. We had a really great suggestion from one of our board members to do a holiday Christmas decoration contest. So I'm making some signs and we will be sending some information out about that. So decorate your house, get ready, show up December 5th to help decorate the tree at the church and get into the spirit of that. And then we will be walking around the neighborhood trying to see which is the best house with the Christmas decorations. So with that being said, Miss Deidre, I think we have a poll that we have learned how to do on Zoom. So she's going to send out a poll and I will go ahead and let you know that we have Jennifer Berry, who is running for vice president. We have Rory Moon, who will be running for at large. I cannot remember. I had that written down somewhere. You want to go ahead and read that for me, Deidre?
Yes, we have Tara Ingram.
Oh, yes.
Rory, Tara Ingram and Rory Moon and Joshua McCoy that are running for at-large positions. And what that means is they just come in and fill in the blanks, fill in where we need help at. The only specific position that is being ran for is vice president and Jennifer Berry currently has no competition. So.
That means nothing. That means nothing about me, just FYI.
Right.
All right. So you're going to share the poll and then we're going to give everybody just a few minutes to vote. It's pretty much just yes, if you agree with that nomination and yes to elect. And then of course, no, if you disagree. And then we will keep that. It will be recorded and then we can have the results shared with us momentarily, right?
And actually, I did it even more simpler. If you want the person, who's listed, you'll just choose that person. And that's just that. So if you want Tara Ingram to join us, then you'll choose Tara Ingram. If you want Joshua, choose Joshua. So it's not necessarily a multiple choice or yes or no. There's no choosing. You can go ahead and choose who you want. I hope that makes sense.
It does. If once you share it, it'll make sense.
Okay, yeah. So I'm actually getting some votes already. We're slowly coming in. We've got about 64% of people who have voted. And board members, if you can also go ahead and cast your vote as well, that would help in the percentage there. I feel like I should be playing some music.
I don't think it's working. I'm sorry, I feel really dumb, but I don't know how to do this.
So if you want someone, then you'll choose that person.
Can you tell whether I voted or not already?
Mhm.
Okay, does it say that I did?
I saw it go up.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I thought I was making it more simpler, but we're gonna get this. We're okay, guys. We're gonna get this. I'm seeing the numbers go up, so I think everyone understands. If you don't understand, I'm watching the chat for questions. But I think everybody's getting it.
So, Deidre, I'm not seeing how to do it. I don't even see where I can select. I just see the poll that's up, but.
So do you see that you can
Deidre.
select a person?
No.
Yeah, I'm having this.
I'm wondering if it's maybe those of us who might be co-hosts are seeing
That's
the
what I
results
think.
of the
Oh,
poll.
Yeah.
Poll. So
okay.
I can't see a way to vote either.
Okay, I'm gonna withdraw the co-host permission for our board members so you guys can vote too. So hopefully as I go through, then you'll start to see that free up.
Okay. Yes, I see it.
Okay. So Gabby, how were you able to vote then?
I still don't think I did.
Okay.
Oh yeah, now I can.
Okay.
It's giving
That
me
is
option
the
now. I feel
problem.
less dumb. Yes.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. We are gonna get this.
We got this. It's fine. It's
Yeah,
fine.
exactly.
And Deidre, you'll be able to share the results with everybody on the Zoom call, correct?
Yes, that is correct. I am looking, and I can see those numbers going up again.
Hey, Deidre, I'm still a co-host, so I haven't been able to vote yet. Can you unhost me? Thank you.
Same with me. Oh, there it is. Thank you.
And I'm just doing that for everyone that has been a co-host, just in case. To make sure I got everyone. So hopefully I got everyone. Awesome. And this is in real time, y'all. So just waiting on a few more people, but So once you make the selection, you should be able to just submit and it should be good. I believe everyone who is no longer a co-host, you are officially back on mute, but you should be able to unmute yourself. Does anybody have any questions? Anything else weird going on?
I think we're good. It's plenty of time. I think everybody voted.
Can you message in the chat if you were not able to vote, and I can just double check your settings? But I think that is everyone. Okay. Well, it looks like everyone who is on the roster to be voted for has a at least a 76% or higher. Actually, I'm still seeing movement here, so maybe let's wait one more minute.
Yeah, this is the new election 2020, guys.
Right? I wish I was more exciting. That's why I said maybe I should like play some music.
Can we get some like maps in the background?
Right, right. So as you see, you know, on the north side of Jefferson Park, these people are leaning more towards Tara and
I'm just going to tell
not
you,
so much.
we are not recounting this. We are not.
No, we're not. There is no recounting. Okay. Oh gosh. Okay, so 75%, it says 75% voted, but I believe more have voted than that. I'm not really sure why it's being so slow, but again, just last call. Is there anyone else that has not been able to submit their vote? Please send a message in the chat, or you can even raise your hand if you know how to raise your hand electronically. I'm looking.
I think we're good.
Okay. All right. So I'll just announce the percentage or just the people, or what would you like me to?
That sounds perfectly fine.
Okay. So for vice president, again, we only had one person. And Jennifer Berry has a hands down 100%. So congratulations, Jennifer. And for board members at large, Tara Ingram and Rory Moon have a 78% as a yes. And Joshua McCoy has 89% yes. So I think that's an overwhelming welcome to the board, right?
I believe that is an overwhelming welcome to the board. Congratulations.
Yay. Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. This is an awesome, amazing group of people to work with.
Oh, thank you. Yes, absolutely. And we will give you an opportunity to introduce yourselves at the next board meeting. The newly elected board members officially start in January. But that doesn't mean we won't be inviting you to meetings between now and then to kind of get that transition going. So thank you. Thank you. I appreciate the interest in becoming part of the team, and I look forward to working with you next year. So thank you again. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
And thank you, Deidre. I know that was kind of new, but that worked out pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't too hard, but I definitely still learned some things, as always.
Yeah. We have definitely been learning some things with Zoom. So I just have one quick question. Has Thomas Calloway entered the room? Because I have not seen him. Oh, he is here? Okay, perfect. Then I saw somebody nodding yes. Am I saying yes?
Thomas
I'm
Calloway's
here.
here.
I am here.
Okay, perfect. So we will turn it over to Councilmember Calloway, and he can give us updates and before we adjourn. Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
I know it's getting late, so I'll move very, very quickly. And anyone can stop me or ask questions. Did y'all have an opportunity to meet Mr. Beavers this evening and see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay. If you guys would like to give me feedback, you can reach me either by phone at 470-755-1957 or by email with T Calloway, that's T as in Thomas, CALLOWAY at eastpointcity.org. They are working, you guys were the first community, but they will continue their community engagement, seeing what type of tenants you guys would like, seeing what type of changes you would like within the development. So we're very excited about that. It's going to be a mixed use, mixed income development, and we think it's going to be a catalyst for the area. Pretty positive overall? Excited, not excited? Yeah,
Yes.
I see a lot of nods, thumbs up. Okay, yeah. So I'm sure he went pretty in depth, so I don't want to rehash that, but you can, if you'd like, have any questions, any feedback, and I know that he's asked for some emails from you guys to continue to stay engaged with everyone. So we're really excited about that. The traffic calming, I know that's probably at the top of everyone's list. What's going on? What's happening? Why hasn't it happened? Why isn't it done yet? So what has been, we had that first round. You guys, first, let me just say thank you for being the guinea pigs and the test subjects on that. By you guys going through that process, we learned a lot about the process and what worked, what didn't work, what was maybe some impossible requirements. But what has come out of that is they are beginning engineering and doing the planning for Jefferson Avenue. And so there will be some additions to that, and those will be according to the plan that you guys requested. Okay, so that portion, there is a long-term overall idea on making some adjustments there, maybe a road diet, some lane narrowing, and some bump outs and some other things to slow people down that aren't as intrusive. That would be phase one. Phase two is once we start doing traffic calming on Jefferson, it's probably going to push traffic to Windburn. So we realize that that's going to be following very quickly behind. And then less so on East Forest because it doesn't go all the way through. But we do realize that Jefferson, once we start making improvements there, that it was going to push traffic to Windburn. And so we will also make adjustments there as part of that plan. I saw someone asking about ShotSpotter. We are looking to distribute ShotSpotter throughout the city. You may have noticed the new street lights that we've been installing over the last year. Not only are they LED, they cause less light pollution, but they are downward facing, use less energy, but they're also smart lights, meaning that they have the ability to install different modules on them. And one of those modules we are looking to install will be ShotSpotter. So that is something that we are exploring throughout the city. The license plate reader traffic cameras that we have installed have been very effective in locating some folks who have done some not so great things. I guess is a good way of pointing that out. So the license plate readers are being effective. Another big thing that we're working through right now is street racing, illegal street racing. That's a big concern for folks. We have paid some overtime. We're looking to engage with Georgia State Patrol as well as the city of Atlanta to curtail that activity. And then in addition to that, we have passed an ATV ordinance, and we also are using available laws that are currently on the books to make sure that people who are caught street racing, that it's not just a traffic violation that they get. So there are currently laws on the books, so we are tamping that down. And then in addition to that, we are using some, I don't want to go into exactly what we're doing, but we're using some technology to also be able to figure out where they're going to be next and how to make sure that that is an issue that is taken care of. So that's been at the top of everyone's list. Recently, there's been an uptick in some activity in East Washington and River Park, which is across Cleveland Avenue. There's also been some issues with a couple of houses within Jefferson Park. The police are investigating to see if a lot of those situations are connected. Just because of the sharp spike and the type of activity, anyway, we're trying to figure out if they are connected, and if they are, how to best proceed forward on some of those issues. So we are aware that that is out there. Turkeys, food, we are still continuing with food. To date, we have distributed, and this is part of the U.S. CARES Act, and it comes through the USDA program. So to date, we have distributed right at about 2.5 million pounds of food to the people in East Point over the last 30 weeks. It is approximately right at about $3 million in food that is paid for by the federal government, distributed by volunteers. We do have a small budget. We spend between $500 and $1,000 a week to do that distribution. But that is a very, and of that is employees that have otherwise seen, like we're using Parks and Recs employees. It did have an impact because we were using some of our Parks and Recs built grounds crews, but we've actually adjusted that program to utilize them a little less so they can get caught up on their park maintenance. And then we're going to the slow time of the year on that. So they will also have the opportunity to get caught up on park maintenance. The art in the paint, I believe, they unveiled Brookdale this weekend. So that is a very nice addition. Also, it is unfortunate, but they did memorialize the 11-year-old young man who lost his life about 2 weeks ago, just across the way in East Washington neighborhood. His father was a coach for a rec league, and he was very active in multiple sports. So that is a loss that is felt throughout the community. And we felt that we did want to honor him, a young person that was senselessly killed in a crossfire of a shooting. Really just very tragic event. And that is being investigated. The turkey giveaway, Jefferson Park Rec Center, 9 o'clock this Saturday. In addition to the turkeys, there'll be 700 turkeys. There also will be food fixings that were donated through the Atlanta Community Food Bank. And then in addition to that, there'll be $425 gift cards that were also part of a nonprofit grant program that will be added into that for fresh fruits and veggies. And also we got the things that are coming up is a GIC grant, GICH. It's around housing. Another big thing that you'll be asked to participate in is the LCI, which is Living Communities Initiative study of Willingham Corridor. And our goal there is to get some feedback and make that corridor less industrial and more usable. The other big thing that's coming up is the Foodwell Alliance got an additional $225,000 grant to continue the work on the East Point Agricultural Comprehensive Plan. And that is working its way through planning and zoning. So those will be some implementation dollars to increase our commitment to urban agriculture. So we're very pleased that we were able to receive that larger grant. The other thing we are currently working on is a investment prospectus for our opportunity zone. The reason that impacts y'all is the one opportunity zone, it's a federal tax opportunity zone designation that encompasses East Washington and River Park, which is the neighborhoods across Cleveland from y'all. And we are looking to do some equitable redevelopment throughout those areas to increase the quality of life of the people and the quality and quantity of life of people who reside within those neighborhoods. So that's we're moving forward on that. And then, of course, we are looking at some new zoning regulations and looking at the environmental impacts of our industrial sites. We've received some EPA brownfield assessment grants, about $600,000. And those study sites will be around Jefferson Park, just on the other side of Cleveland, so very close by. And we are also looking at potential adaptive reuse of a property up on Sylvan and 85, which used to be the Owens Corning Mill. So we are doing a lot when it comes to these former industrial sites that have polluted, and looking how do we repurpose and better purpose those. And then in addition to that, we have come up with some new zoning laws when it comes to warehouses. Lastly, the short-term rental ordinances, a portion of those have been passed. The final portion on those will be the zoning portion, which is where it will be allowable. Basically what it comes down to, short-term rentals, Airbnbs, if you will, but across all platforms will be regulated in the city. For the most part, wards A and B, there will be whole house rentals. There will also be what's known as homestay. So that is you live in the house, but you rent out a room to someone on a short-term basis. That will be restricted to the owner of the home for homestays has to be also their primary residence and be in the home. There will be a registration process, a business license process. Hotel motel taxes will have to be rendered as well. And then in addition to that, there are some maximum number of occupants limits on that. And there are no parking restrictions, but we may revisit that. So meaning that, you're not required to have off-street parking for a short-term rental, but we may revisit that. And that pretty much is the short-term rental ordinance in a nutshell. It's pretty similar to what we had come up with about 8 months ago prior to COVID. And because of the pandemic and everything, it sort of got put on a back burner. But this to me is there has been a high level of community engagement around this particular ordinance. And while it's not perfect for everyone, we really had a lot of competing interests. And at the end of the day, I think we really were able to come away with something that is going to work across the whole city, which was a very heavy lift. That is all I have. Any questions? Do we have time for?
Councilman Callaway, we do have a question on our chat about license plate readers. Do we have license plate readers in East Point? If so, are there any in Jefferson Park or surrounding neighborhoods?
Yes, so we do have, I believe it's 16 license plate readers across the city. One of them is on Sylvan near Jefferson Park. And I believe there's another one on Cleveland near Jefferson Park. As people come in and out of Atlanta, in those two thoroughfares, we are able to read their license plates when they do come in. And I think I saw something pop up. Yes, they are flock cameras, and which is nice because Hapeville also has flock, so we can down the road potentially be able to share data across jurisdictions.
Okay, I have another question here. Is the city interested in helping develop worker-managed co-ops here in East Point? I'd like to be involved.
So that would be probably the closest to that would be the name escapes me, 166, Market 166. Sorry, it's late. I had a long budget meeting. So Market 166 is probably the closest to that we're looking to do. And that would be a food co-op. And I don't know if Mr. Beavers talked to you, but they are in discussions with potentially locating at the new development. And we're really looking forward to that. Being able to do two things. One, provide more healthy options for food, and two, also, if grocery stores don't want to come here, that's fine. We'll build our own. have it your way. But you know, sometimes that's what it takes. You know, there's some really cool things they've done in North Carolina. A friend of mine is the mayor of Burlington, North Carolina. You know, they have the nation's fourth. It was the only fourth one, but it was a co-op brewery that they did. And you know, so Market 166, we're hoping to get off the ground, and that'll be our proof of concept. But we are interested in doing that also potentially for the commons development. We've looked at doing some co-working spaces that would be owned and operated by the city, such as a commercial kitchen and some other options along those lines. We are doing some you know, we do entrepreneurial conference every year. This year we had to cancel because of COVID, but we are still going to move forward with the Kauffman Foundation. And that has been a real big push for us when it comes to economic development. Instead of paying large tax breaks to get Fortune 100 companies to locate a very small portion of their business here, what I would like to see is us investing in our people, our small businesses, and our entrepreneurs that already live here, so we can have locally owned and operated businesses, instead of bringing outside businesses in and paying our dollars for outside businesses. What I would like to see is to build up our own businesses to bring outside dollars in instead of sending our dollars out. Did that answer the question to whoever asked it? Okay. Thank you, Mr. McCoy, for that question.
And
But yes, entrepreneurial, and actually, you know, we just real quick on that, because this is a really important point. You know, we've also engaged the Partnership for Southern Equity, which is a nonprofit that works around equity. And a big part of that is realizing that, you know, we have an untapped resource when it comes to the people who live here. And there's a real strong entrepreneurial spirit within our city. And when you look at more and more people doing gig work, a lot of those people have an entrepreneurial spirit, and it's how do we help them and help them monetize that, so we can build up not just our buildings and our infrastructure, but our people as well.
Okay, I have one more question here. How can the public get copies of the industrial text amendments? They are not currently posted on the planning and development page.
So the best way to get that would be, it was included in the work session agenda packet for last week, which was Monday. And I'm sorry, I'm closing my eyes because I'm trying to remember. It was Monday the 9th, I believe. And it should be available on the East Point website under council, and then the council meeting, and then it should be in the agenda packet. And those are the proposed text amendments for around the new zoning classifications. And we are looking to add more. Right now on our next upcoming work session, I see Julie saying it wasn't there. I will see if I can't get that, but I will, Julie, I think I have your email. I will send you a copy of that. I have it in my email. And then one of the things I requested to be put on the next work session is some potential city initiated rezonings of I-2 and yes, Carrie, I will send it to you as well, of I-2 and I-1, that's light industrial and heavy industrial. I feel that, you know, especially some of these sites that are polluted, they need to be rezoned to mixed use. And what that will do is and something that requires a residential component. And what that will do is force the owners of the property to actually get those doing phase 1, phase 2 environmentals to get them up to being actually habitable. And that will force those properties to be cleaned. And so that's what I'm pushing for, because, you know, a lot of these properties, we're relying upon the EPA and EPD to, you know, to force these cleanups. And unfortunately, it's just not happening. So the way we can do that is to rezone them to require a residential component if they are going to be redeveloped. And that would force the sites to be cleaned to a higher degree before they can be put back into economic use.
Thank you very much. As always, a lot of great information. We appreciate you taking the time to be here with us and always contributing to the neighborhood.
Thank you all so much. And I apologize for my tardiness.
Oh, no problem. It was perfect timing, actually. So, So finally, I just want to do a real quick recap on, we are looking for Lottie Maynard Fund nominations and of course donations. You can visit us at our JPNA, Jefferson Park Neighborhood Association webpage, or you can reach out to me directly if you want to donate or if you have a nomination. Since the East Point Fire Department was not here, I am meeting with them this Wednesday to talk about a Santa ride-along with the fire department, and they're going to be passing out toys and things like that. So I'll get some more information and I will share that with you via the email blast or our JPNA newsletter. And then congratulations to everyone that was nominated or elected today as being part of the JPNA board. We really appreciate you being here and being a part of the neighborhood. And then other than that, unless anybody has anything else, I don't think I missed anything. I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Barbara, I'm sorry, but I had one other thing to add really quickly.
Oh, I see you. Okay, yes.
And everybody, there is free COVID testing at East Point First Malibu every Friday from 10 to 4. So if you know anyone, they don't require an ID, don't require insurance. You just go up, you get tested, and then you provide the information. And it takes about a 24 to 48 hour turnaround on that. Sorry about that.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for letting us know, especially with the spike.
Absolutely. I was going to say too, Mr. Calloway, if you could hold on, but don't leave, because I want to get your information or get that information again so I can post that in our social media.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right. So before I ask for the motion, is any other board members, anybody have any questions? I know it's late, so this was a very busy agenda. I appreciate you all taking the time. Again, congratulations to our newly appointed board members. And if I can just get a motion from some, I know a board member is going to motion here real quick. I just need a motion. Thank you. In a second.
Second.
All right, we are officially adjourned.